Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Let's Interview one of the finalists for what I am codenaming the Ready Persona 1 tabletop campaign. I am here interviewing Hales. Welcome, Hales.
Hi.
And Hales today has chosen, I was about to say Sam, has chosen Joe to be their interviewer partner today. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cool. Awesome to have you both here. And I'm just going to cut right to it and let Joe have full reign. So, Joe, whenever you're ready to go.
All right. Tell me one of the times, and it can be either in world building, story crafting, or character creation, where you felt like you made something that was so unique and dynamic that it surprised even yourself.
I would say when I was in my friend Brett's campaign, I had made this character, like this chaotic evil rogue, and she was an atheist, which in his world was actually, people were like, how? A god just came down last week and anointed someone. Like the literal gods could show up to your house. How do you not believe they exist? And she started having these visions, and at first as a player I was like, no, I'm gonna resist this, I'm gonna have her try to fight back. And then there was just a moment in our campaign where there was no possible way for her to not like convert to a god. Essentially we'd gone to this town and it was overrun by like a plague, and our paladin had tried to help somebody, and they're like, man, I'm infected. I don't want to turn into that. I don't want to live like this anymore. And the paladin made the decision to, by that character's request, kill them. And at that moment, my character was like, but you're going to lose your paladin powers. Like, you, and he did. And my character was like, oh my gosh, like, the gods are real. And as a team with the cleric, they went off and they found the cure essentially right after like he killed the guy, because we thought it was a desperate situation. He thought like it would take us longer to find the cure, and then my character kind of opened up and was like, I've been having these weird visions. um and she actually started converting, which was surprising.
How do you interpret table etiquette when you're sitting around with a number of different people?
I think it's important before the play starts that everybody sort of says like, this is my intention or what I want to get out of the game, and like let their characters change you, or like don't be afraid to make a decision if it's the story and it fits the moment and it's not exactly what you thought your character would do, but now you've bonded with your party member and you've kind of given them, like, say you had a character and you bonded with your party member and now they get to go on a side quest and kind of highlight that player's strengths and storytelling. And then all you're there for is really like, now we're in a fight and there's four of us. So like, you can help them tell their story. Because I think everyone has emotions when you're in a scene, and you do really, I think, however many hours you're playing, everybody mentally becomes their character. And it's important to give them the room to like express their emotions with that. Yeah, and then just kind of learning to read people's body language over the camera is something that I've learned since DMing my own games and being in other people's games, um, which was a learning curve because everyone has different internet. So it's kind of just, being quiet for a minute. Sometimes I'll be quiet longer until someone's like, oh, I was leaving it open for you to respond. but I'd rather be quiet than talk over somebody else.
Oftentimes, as we create stories and get into characters and start creating this collaborative experience with others, you called it out really well just a moment ago about immersing into characters. How do you, one, get into character, but then also get out of character?
So I'll take notes and think like, what does my character feel? Or like with these characters specifically, they have different accents, or I have a different image of them in my head. So I kind of have bullet points where it's like, Saorise is like feminine and confident and like a motherly healing type. And JJ's more of the while she is a caregiver, she is more of the like independent sort of tomboy character. So I kind of just try to see generic bullet points, and then to get out of character, I kind of just remind myself like, I'm in my apartment doing a game with my friends. If I'm really emotional about something that happened with my character, I'll be like, you are not them. Like, I might even say out loud if I'm muted, I just might be like, okay, the game is done. Step back, because I think we do love our stories. We love our characters. We love how we bounce things off of each other. And to kind of come down from that and remind yourself, like, it is a game, even though we love our characters. And I love my friends as well. So I just kind of remind myself, like, we're friends playing a game. So if something happens in game that takes me off guard, I'll just kind of take a deep breath and be like, okay, how can I play off that thing I didn't expect?
What is Hark's biggest reservations about this candidate? So I'll share it with you what it is, and I'll give you a chance to respond. So I've had very limited experience role playing with you directly. You did role play as a spin-off character in the Wizarding World campaign, which is super fun. And I personally had a very positive experience playing with you and was looking forward to possibly doing it with you again. So I did some digging because I needed to collect more data. And I asked others who have played with you and interacted in the past, do you have some feedback about Hales or some areas of growth? And one of the things that was told to me is that I don't know if this is necessarily in-game, so take what I'm saying with a little bit of grain of salt. But they said that sometimes when you are in the Google Hangout chats, you can sometimes have the tendency of dominating a conversation. And people were concerned if this is something that could be a problem at the table. It might be a harder time for some of the quieter people to like get a word in if you do end up dominating a conversation or dominating the table. So given that that's my biggest reservation for you, how do you respond?
I would say just having a regular chat with people. When there's a lot of people in the chat, it is tough to keep track of everybody. At least I try to wait for someone to be like, Hales, what do you think? Or if I notice I talk too much, I'll be like, sorry guys, anyone else wanna? Because I just get so excited to hang out with people. And I think for me, a lot of maybe the domination aspect comes from like lockdown, makes me crave being around people more. In terms of at the table, I tend to try to, because I'll have outside of game me, and then when I'm in game, I try to think like, okay, this is a different interaction style. So I actually might sometimes be more reserved, or even if I'm having emotions, I mean, I keep myself on mute. Like, I try to pay attention. Like, the reason I take notes is so I'm like keyed in and paying attention to what people are saying. I like to encourage quieter players to sort of, for example, when I was doing like in character chat, I knew that like Kevin tends to be a quieter person, Shadow Kevin. Or I've noticed like Sora is kind of a quieter person. So I kind of was like, I'm just going to create a generic scenario and only really interact when people are like, oh, can I order something? And then kind of reminded them, you guys are here together to play with each other, and kind of tried to help them gain confidence, because I do think that's the nerve-wracking thing about this process.
Hypothetically, if you were asked to give up your spot to be officially in the main campaign and give that to somebody else, to another auditioner, which auditioner would you give that to instead of yourself to be on the campaign, and why?
I think it's Joey, the guy from Belgium.
Yeah. He's ginger like you. How could you forget?
Yeah.
How could anyone forget the ginger?
No, right?
Just like.
I think that I was saying in his comment, like, you're very well spoken and creative. He seems like an experienced role player, in terms of that he's actually playing or that he's DM'd, or there's something about his audition where I'm like, there was more in your brain for this. And it made me want to know more about him and his world. And I think it would be really awesome to sort of see a new person in the game.
Getting into the real world where we'll start. The world itself is suffering random and unexplained disasters. These are aspects of the world that they don't have like a real rhyme or reason, but definitely a big challenge. The main character, JJ, who you'll be playing, has just gotten off of work, and after a long day of work is getting ready to head home, where she shares a 2-story flat with her mom. In JJ's mind, after a long days of tinkering and working with tools and just bursting through the day on that day-to-day basis, and then just hitting the door for home, that's where we're going to pick up.
Mom, you forgot to get your groceries again.
Oh, yes. I forgot again. Do you mind helping out a little bit and getting my medication too?
Oh, it was delivered.
Oh.
Here it is.
Oh, JJ, so sweet. How was work today?
Just working on cars and stuff.
Oh, sounds delightful. Anything particular of interest of note?
Well, I guess there were a couple of cool vintage cars.
Oh, maybe you should get us some tea and sit down for a while. We could talk about that.
I have something scheduled, actually.
Are you going back to trivia night? It's been so long since you've been. Good.
Oh, no. It's something I was working on upstairs.
Oh. Well, I know it's been a while since you've seen your friends, so should you want to go, I can have you set the thermostat on your way out, and I'll be fine.
I haven't really talked to them recently.
Yes. Well, I have some biscuits. Would you like to sit and eat some biscuits?
All right. Just for a little bit.
Oh, yes. Why don't you sit here and tell me a little bit about, are you excited? Your brothers are coming next month. A red carpet just around the corner, you know.
Oh, I forgot. That's right. They had the show in the city.
Yes. Maybe you could join them on the red carpet and get out and see the sights a little bit.
I know they got us 3 tickets. I don't know who I would bring.
Oh, well, you could always Or you could call Evelyn.
Oh, yeah, it's been a while since I've seen her too.
Yes, yeah. Wouldn't it be great to catch up and spend time out with them?
I suppose. Yeah, I'll try to remember to give her a call.
Oh, yes, good. And as she's a little bit eating on some of the biscuits and having some tea, definitely pushing that plate closer and closer to you for more biscuits. So, you say you're working on something upstairs, something new for the garage?
Yes, but also just changing up the room a little bit.
Well, you spend so much time up there, if you want to go out, I'll be fine. I'll just have you, give me a blanket before you go, and I'll make sure I've taken all my medications, and maybe set up a little snack for me for later.
Yeah, I'll see if the neighbors are able to keep an eye on you if I go out.
Oh, such blessing, such blessing. JJ, you really have come a long way. I know it's been difficult, but I'm proud of you every day. And those little steps, they really make the difference.
Yeah. Oh, did you remember to print more flyers?
I knew I was forgetting something. I thought we still had quite a stack, and I know you've been having them hung quite regularly, so I didn't know exactly how many more we would need, or if any were taken down yet, or anything.
I figured if we're going into the city to go shopping for the red carpet thing, might as well take extras.
Yes.
Just in case.
That's a good idea. I'm sure Saorise is around. I'm sure we'll find her.
Yeah, just... Well, can't really have an engagement party with just one person.
No, but sometimes we have to make sure we're pushing on and keeping our chin up and doing the best we can.
Yeah, I do. Sometimes I'll close the shop early. I haven't been working every time I told you I was still at work.
Oh dear. Hopefully it's not affecting your ability to retain all that great knowledge you know on fixing and tinkering and...
Oh no, just some of her coworkers sometimes want to get beers and stuff.
Oh,
I figured, it's people she wanted me to get to know, so I figured I could try, I guess.
Well, that's good, at least getting out and meeting people. That's what it's about. Good for you, JJ. Good for you.
Yeah. But these are good. I'll take some of these upstairs. I'll go do my project.
If you need anything, I'll be here, and if you go out, please feel free.
I'll think about it.
She'll smile a little bit, snuggle under a blanket on the chair, and allow you to head out the door.
She'll grab her keys, but what she's really doing is just going around the back and going up the outside stairs to the top floor. But she locks the door and grabs her motorcycle helmet to make it look like she's leaving.
Definitely that bit of staleness in the room. The windows, of course, not having been opened regularly. A lot of stagnation in the room. What would you do?
She would turn her phone on and play, like, they would give each other voice memos, and she'll just play the last voice memo that she got and set out clothes, like, for her in the bathroom, like, hang them up and get the shower ready, even though it's very clear that she's like rubbed out all the wrinkles and she's hung this specific outfit multiple times on the back of the door. She'll kind of start saying, oh, you would have loved seeing the crazy flying car that came in today. Like, she's talking, but obviously no one's answering.
At that moment, there is a soft beeping from a pair of glasses sitting on the counter. Just a gentle alarm that is set every night for the same time.
I'm using a prop. So she'll go over and she'll grab the sunglasses.
As you put the shades on, there is almost a blinking light on the sides as it connects into your neural pathways. Standing in almost a black, empty space as lights begin to flicker on like fluorescence, illuminating the space immediately around you to a white floor that darkens to a soft gray, a shape in front of you that illuminates to a very retro and vintage Volkswagen Bug, familiar walls of a little bit oversized garage. On one side, there are a workbench with a number of tools and toolboxes, everything neat, organized, placed meticulously. On the opposite wall, across from where you're standing, is a number of baskets and bins labeled neatly with locations that the contents are going to be moved to at some point: bedroom, bathroom, living room, kitchen. On the opposite side of the Bug is a very familiar figure of JJ. As you take in the surroundings, the JJ figure that's like looking in a mirror does a quick blink and almost a little bit of a head shake as the AI takes over control of the JJ figure, smiling and nodding at you. This JJ just calls out, Saorise, good day.
Yes, I just need to grab one more thing before we head out.
Oh, take your time, love. We've got time.
I got the wine you like.
If you want to change plans, we can.
No, we've been talking about seeing the redwoods for so long.
You're right, love. Let's stick with the plan.
JJ always tells her to dress down, but it's still dressed up. Like, she tried to put on a flannel and jeans, but it still looks immaculate. And she'll say, did you remember to call the lodge just to make sure we got the larger room? And she kind of lifts her hand, and they both have engagement rings that they gave each other eventually. And she just waves her hand. She says, we always talked about doing this once we were engaged, and I've been looking forward to it.
I know. Now that the engagement party's all wrapped, we've got the entire week. I called ahead, the reservation's set, and there's nothing to worry about, love. Just you and I, out in the woods, beautiful cabin, together.
It sounds like heaven. And she grins and she takes out a case of CDs. And she says, since I'm driving, I get to pick the music. And it's Irish folk songs for the first part of the drive.
The JJ says, I liked it before the driver picked the tunes and the passenger shut the cake hole, just so you know, and climbs into the bug.
She'll climb in, and before they set out, she'll lean over and give her a kiss on the cheek, and it leaves a little ring of lipstick on, and she'll put her little cat eye sunglasses on for driving, and she's got like a sun hat on that she throws in the back. And she says, did you remember to fix the latch on the front? The front boot. It was loose last time.
Yeah. I've gotten it all fixed, all repaired. I've been doing a lot of repairs. Would you like to hear about it?
Yeah, and she'll put the car in gear and I'll start the drive.
As you're driving out of the city and then onto the freeway, heading up to the north, the roads are pretty bare because the vintage cars that actually drive are few and far between. The AI JJ goes through and talks about the latest repairs that have been going on in the garage, some of the different opportunities she's had to see some of the new cars and work and tinker with some of the different hovering systems, some of the different alternative fuels. A couple of times just noting out as the song changes or something, just singing along for a moment before shaking her head a little bit and then going back into telling you about the couple of past days she's had repairing.
That sounds like fun. And she'll look over when she starts singing the song and she'll say, you're getting good at it. Even though it's in Irish, you're actually getting quite good at it.
Well, can't really believe it, but yeah, it's like I know it. You sure that you don't want to try something else for the honeymoon? An island, maybe?
Ooh. That would be fun. Or I could take you to visit some of my family back in Ireland. We still have a branch or two.
Yeah, maybe we should try that. I just think that, it can't hurt.
That's true. There's just so many places I haven't been, it's hard to choose. But it doesn't really matter as long as I'm with you.
Well, I do feel the same, so I guess this is fine for now, but let's just keep the possibilities open. Lots of places to see and do.
And and as she's talking, she'll kind of reach over and hold her hand, and she'll say, it's like when you first taught me how to drive stick. She laughs. The ambulances are all automatic.
Well, it's something that is going to help in the long run, I'm sure. Just as she finishes talking, there is a beeping sound that comes from the dashboard as a signal light starts flashing of low fuel.
Oh shoot, did you remember to put gas at the last stop?
Oh, I didn't. I was just so preoccupied. There's a filling station just ahead, though. Why don't we stop there?
Oh, thank goodness. She'll laugh and she says, I'm so bad at watching the dash. I get too distracted by you.
Well, I appreciate it, but so long as you don't not watch the road.
And she's been flicking her eyes to the rearview mirror, and she'll put the signal on to take the off ramp towards the filling station.
As you pull in, the station has a large bay for servicing the hovering vehicles and just one small area with natural pumps like we would have today for servicing vintage. There is a large sign that says they've got everything from the lowest price fuels, hot food, cold beverages, lotto. They've got clean restaurant, just that typical side of the road gas station signage blasted right in the front windows.
There's sort of a stop and go chugging sound, and she'll go, "We were so close. Do you mind getting out and pushing?" As the car stops 10 or 15 feet from the pump that they need because the gas just ran out before they got it there.
The JJ kind of smiles and pulls the sleeves up a little bit and says, I got you, get in neutral, and runs behind the vehicle and begins pushing a bit. Just as the vehicle creeps up to the pump.
She'll say through the open window, "I remember when I helped jump my ambulance when you came and saved me on the side of the road that day."
Oh, I could never forget.
And she'll blush and get out to start digging through her purse for, her wallet. And she'll say, "You get started with pumping the gas, and I'll go in for some snacks. What was your favorite again?"
And she says, "That sounds great," and she's already taking the pump off and starting to take the cap off to put it in to begin fueling. She goes, "Why don't you get me an iced coffee and corn nuts?"
All right. And she'll walk towards the door, and it's like she tried to dress down in like scuffed cowboy boots and the flannel and everything, and yet it's the smoothest walk you've ever seen into a gas station. It's like uncannily beautiful, and she'll kind of, with her hand on the door, she'll flip her hair and look back and kind of give her a cheeky wink while she goes into the gas station.
As you step into the gas station, that smell of old hot dogs on rollers and spilled fountain drink, that sugary undertone to the overcooked meat, just overwhelming. But behind the counter is an older fellow who's wearing just a crew neck shirt with a big badge on it that just says Bob, M-O-D, and a little bit of a crooked hat, and smiles at you and says, "Well, hello. How are you doing?"
"I'm doing great. Do you by chance have corn nuts?" She'll say as she's walking over to start the iced coffee machine.
Just as you're beginning to walk, he points right away. "Right over there."
She'll glance and she's like, "Oh, made it just in time to get some. It's her favorite." And she'll kind of go over to grab the corn nuts, and she'll look for sunflower seeds and see that they're out, and she'll kind of just, she'll sigh and be like, "Do you never have the sunflower seeds?"
"Oh yeah, we get stocked weekly. Just weekly though."
"Must be popular." And she'll grab a random item, bag of chips or something, and gum, and she'll walk up to the register.
Just as you're setting the items on the counter, the gentleman says, "All right, and 50 in gas, and your lotto ticket, that's 48957236, right?"
"Aye, yes. Oh, silly me, I almost forgot to get it." She'll laugh, and she'll take the ticket and say, "I'm hoping it's lucky this time." And she'll put it in the band of her hat, and there's an old faded ticket slightly underneath it.
With that, this figure behind the counter kind of blinks and gives a little bit of a shake, and he says, "Well, if not, there's always next time, right? Fancy seeing you again," and begins ringing you up. And that's where we're going to close the scene.
It would be wonderful to get out again. Maybe even be a little bit more myself. And if I got the chance to do that, I think it would be really swell.